All right, so the last time that we were here, I was talking about how the Steam Deck had an issue with its headphone jack, and a lot of people sort of resonated with that. It's kind of a known issue with the new OLED model that there's a bit of a buzzing. And I experimented with some of the internet suggestions of isolating the ground. I was a little skeptical, but it did seem to mitigate the problem. Well, in the meantime, I decided, as I mentioned, I recommend that anyone with this issue reaches out to Valve because they seem to be offering RMAs. And sure enough, they offered an RMA to me as well. And so I took that offer because I think it's the right thing to do. You might as well make them fix the, the defect that they have. That's basically the philosophy behind it. So I sent it in about, I'd say, a week and a half later with free shipping. It came back to me. It looks like they're using a third-party repair organization to do this. I don't know where yours will go, if it's always going to be the same facility. Mine went to Salt Lake City in Utah. I don't know where yours is going to go. The company was called United Radio. But again, I don't know if that's the same facility. Maybe they have more than one contract with different repair facilities, but that's where mine went. Either way, I've censored it a bit because there is some personal information on it, but I have the sheet for what came back with the unit, and you can see that they said unit checked for customer's complaint, replaced the audio board, software, firmware was upgraded, the usual stuff. But the most important bit is they noted that they replaced the audio board. This repair, after it was shipped in, was and checked in and put into the queue, took about 1 day, if not half a day, to complete. So Valve definitely is aware of this issue and has distributed a bunch of audio boards, different revisions to these suppliers or repair units, not suppliers, and they are just swapping them out and putting them in. It took probably 1 work day to do this, and it was back of the shipping. So shipping and logistics was the longest part of this wait, and again, that was free. So let me pause here, get this confidential information out of the way. All right, so what is the verdict? Well, to my ears, when I got it back and I listened to it with the same pair of headphones, I have 2 different headphones, a full-sized one, kind of an in-ear, earbud type of one. It sounded like the problem was resolved. So they definitely have replaced the board, it seems. To me, I'm still doubting that it is a grounding issue. I'm on the side of believing that it isn't necessarily a ground loop, but on with the theory that it's an impedance matching issue, especially considering that this affects in-ear headphones and low impedance headphones, most notably, at least that's what people are saying. My running theory is that with the major bill of materials and board changes that Valve made to this new motherboard, where they were trying to reduce the part count and make traces simpler, they probably didn't, they probably left some impedances fly under the radar, which in this case happened to be the connection probably to the headphone, or maybe in the headphone board itself, or some reduction on the motherboard. Some sort of impedance mismatch might have happened. Just a running theory, again, you would have to reverse engineer this and see what the issue is. Obviously, Valve has the engineers and the original plans for this. They probably noticed it, and they've made a board revision. That's what I think they've done. Without further ado, let me do the exact same sample test we did. I'm going to plug in the aux cord here, the 3.5mm, into the headphone. It's in the line in on my computer. We're going to record the test where I cycle 5 times over, 5 times back in the menu, and we're going to listen for the sound. To my ears, I don't really hear it, but give me your opinion. And of course, these will be in the description as raw files as well. So we'll plug this in, and let's start the recording here. There we go, and we're going to turn this on. All right, so we're going to go 5 to the left. Okay, and that's our test. Let me know what you think. Again, the raw files will be in the description. Just to answer a few other question and answers I saw in the comments here before we take this apart, because what do you think? We weren't going to take it apart? We're going to take it apart and take a look at what they did. The first being, people are mentioning why it isn't being recalled. There are two reasons to this that I think, of course, I'm not in the company, but there are two reasons I think that this isn't being recalled. The first is cost. Assuming this fix has been implemented in all of the new production models after a certain date that they discovered it and they made the revision, it would still be a bit of a loss for Valve to recall all Steam Decks before that given date. It's not a great justification, I know, but it isn't a health and safety concern or a catastrophic failure point. So to Valve, like any other business which only cares about bottom lines, it probably is seen as a minor issue that some people might have a problem with, but as long as not everyone notices it, you can kind of sweep it under the rug because, again, it's not a major health concern, safety concern, or catastrophic failure. So even if it exists in certain revisions of devices, if people don't notice it and it doesn't fall into the categories mentioned, why would a company put the effort in? Additionally, most recalls, to my knowledge, have to go through a regulatory body of some kind. So that would be the CPSC in the United States, I believe, which is another reason. It's just a lot of effort that Valve doesn't want to go through. I sound apologetic, but I'm just speaking through the eyes of how one of these large multinational companies would think. Speaking from me now, I still think that if you are affected by this issue, don't just sweep it under the rug. Don't do what they want you to do and just sweep it under the rug. If you do hear this issue with your headphones, the RMA is free. Even the shipping is free, at least in North America. I don't know when I know it's not in certain regions. In North America, it is free to ship in. So go to Valve's support on Steam. The only cost is your time, it's their money, and they can easily afford this. Like I say, they're a huge multinational corporation. They can easily afford this, and they should honor the fact that this is defective, and you should make sure that they aren't belittling it. Anyways, we're 7 minutes in, I haven't taken it apart. Let's see what they've done. I don't think you're gonna see much. I think you're gonna see, and I'll overlay it, that they've just made a board revision change. All right, give me a sec. All right, so we're gonna take this apart. This glare should go away once we flip it over onto the back side. I'm just pointing a light directly on it because it's a lot of light. And this is a dark console, so I think it'll work. Anyways, we need a Torx bit. I don't remember what size a Torx bit. As usual, I just sort of go along and guess. I think it's a Torx 5 on the bottom. It changed it to Torx. I'm not sure. I really dislike Phillips screws because they do strip. It's not a Torx 5, it's a little bit loose. Nope, it is a Torx, what is that? 6. So it's a Torx 6. There you go. Torx 6. All right, let's remove these screws. Let's fast forward this so that it's less boring, but you get the idea. You just have to remove, if you're coming here because, you know, I don't know, if you're coming here because you're interested to see how to disassemble it, I'm just going over it again here, but you can skip this part. It'll be in the description. So now for the tricky part, I'm going to use a pick to pry around the edges. I do kind of wish it wasn't as sealed, but that's how it is. I'm going to start around here and just get those clicks. There we go. And just get those clicks. Yeah. This is difficult to do, and I often do it off camera because it's hard to keep it in frame while I do it. I find it is. And I hate doing this. There we go. careful of the micro SD port. You're just aiming to get those tabs clipped out. There we go. There we go. All right. So going along the bottom, we're going to do the side here. Get in by that crack up at the top. Almost. Yeah, I might have to take this off camera because I can't hold it very nicely and keep it in frame. Give me 1 sec. All right, yeah, that was kind of a pain. I had to kind of get in there and go all the way around. And then we just got to do the top here. So same idea. Just running a guitar pick pretty much on the top. There it is. And it's not that bad. It's just the clips are kind of annoying to demonstrate on camera, I find, at least. All right. So there's nothing attached to this. Good opportunity to clean this if you haven't. And let's take a look at this board. All right. So what are we looking at? That's a brand new board. Now I know it's a brand new board because I purposely, and they didn't notice it, put a little dab of solder on that screw there, just on the contact pad. That's gone. So this is a new board. I don't know. So let's take a zoom in here. Let's take a real close zoom of that. Okay, so I took a look at the previous board image, and obviously the most striking one is this J. This serial number appears to be pretty much the same. I guess it's not really a serial number. I don't know what it indicates. Maybe that's this. I think that's the model number. The revision still says B on the old one, but this is a J. It used to be H on the one I had. So H-I-J. Then this is clearly a later version. I do notice this little print here. I'll get a higher resolution picture of this and put them both side by side. Yeah, there's definitely a different revision. There's not much of a takeaway, again, that I can say about this. All I can say is this is definitely something has changed on this board, at least in the silk screen. So I would assume you wouldn't silk screen for nothing. They've changed something on this board. Visibly, I cannot see, just with the naked eye, what they've changed. But they've certainly changed something. It could be as simple as tracing the routes that they used to get the impedance down. I don't know. But they've definitely changed something. The takeaway, again, once more, is it's free. The only risk is your time. If it's worth, I think it's worth your time, but it's up to you. It might not be free. If you're in a different region and it's not free to ship it in, then that's another aspect as well, but it is free, so they're offering it for free right now. So I would recommend it just on the principle of it. All right, hope you found this somewhat interesting. It's enough going on about this, and I'll see you next time.